Making a lot of money and being famous is fun for someone young because it's exciting, but that's not why I do what I do.
There was a time when Kristy McNichol was everywhere. Her smile lit up television screens across America. Her performances made grown men cry and teenagers feel understood. In the late 1970s and early 80s, she wasn't just Hollywood's favorite young actress. She was its beating heart. 2 Emmy Awards before she turned 18, magazine covers, millions of adoring fans, and then, at the height of her fame, she vanished. No scandal, no farewell tour, just silence. For 31 years, the world wondered what happened to the girl who had everything. Now we finally know the truth, and it's both heartbreaking and inspiring. Early life and discovery. Kristy McNichol was born on September 11, 1962, in Los Angeles. But her childhood was nothing like the glamorous life people imagined. Her father left when she was young, and her mother Carolyn worked multiple jobs just to keep the lights on. Secretary by day, makeup saleswoman on weekends, sometimes even taking bit parts as an extra in low-budget films. It wasn't about chasing stardom, it was about survival. One day on a movie set, Carolyn couldn't afford a babysitter, so she brought Kristy and her older brother Jimmy along. A crew member noticed the kids and casually mentioned they'd be perfect for commercials. That offhand comment changed everything. Soon both children were auditioning, and to everyone's surprise they started booking jobs: toothpaste, cereal, toys. The paychecks weren't much, but they helped. Jimmy was charming and easygoing, a natural in front of the camera, but Kristy was different. Even at 10 years old, there was something about her that made casting directors stop and take notice. She didn't just perform lines, she felt them. Her expressions carried a depth that seemed impossible for someone so young. Directors would later say she had an old soul, that rare ability to convey both innocence and understanding in the same glance. By the mid-1970s, Kristy was getting guest spots on popular shows: Apple's Way, Starsky and Hutch, The Bionic Woman. She was good, really good, and people in the industry started talking about her. Then in 1976, everything changed. ABC cast her as Letitia Buddy Lawrence in their new drama, Family. The rise to stardom. Kristy was only 13 when Family premiered, but her portrayal of Buddy Lawrence stunned critics and audiences alike. This wasn't your typical wholesome sitcom kid. Buddy was complicated, sensitive, sometimes angry, often confused. The show tackled real issues: divorce, identity, growing pains, and Kristy played every moment with remarkable authenticity. The Emmy nominations came almost immediately. 3 consecutive years, 1977. She won in 1977, and again in 1979. Think about that. 2 Emmy Awards before she was old enough to vote. The press called her America's little sister. Teen magazines couldn't print enough covers with her face. Girls wanted to be her. Boys had crushes on her. Parents admired her. But behind the scenes, life was far more complicated. Her mother managed her career, which sounds supportive until you realize Carolyn also depended on Kristy's income to support the family. In interviews years later, Kristy would admit, "I felt like the grown-up in the house. My mom was the child." That kind of role reversal takes a toll. While other teenagers worried about prom dates and homework, Kristy worried about memorizing lines, hitting her marks, and making sure the family stayed afloat financially. Her days were relentless. School in the morning, filming in the afternoon, publicity events at night. There were magazine interviews, photo shoots, award shows. Everyone wanted a piece of her, and she gave it willingly, because that's what was expected. That's what good girls did. They worked hard and didn't complain. When Family ended in 1980, Kristy was 18 and exhausted. But Hollywood doesn't care if you're tired. Success breeds more opportunity, and more opportunity means more work. So she kept going. Peak success and the mounting pressure. The same year Family wrapped, Kristy starred in Little Darlings opposite Tatum O'Neal. The film was a coming-of-age story about 2 girls at summer camp making a bet about losing their virginity. It was edgy for its time, and Kristy's performance as Angel Bright, a street-smart girl hiding deep vulnerability, was magnetic. Roger Ebert praised her naturalism. The movie became a cultural phenomenon, and suddenly Kristy wasn't just a TV star, she was a movie star too. The work came flooding in. That same year she appeared in The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia, alongside Dennis Quaid and Mark Hamill. She commanded one of the highest salaries ever paid to a teenage actress at that time. In 1981, she took on Neil Simon's Only When I Laugh, playing the daughter of a recovering alcoholic portrayed by Marsha Mason. The role earned her a Golden Globe nomination and more critical acclaim. On paper, everything looked perfect. Kristy McNichol was on top of the world. Teen magazines called her the most bankable young actress in Hollywood, but something was breaking inside her. She later confessed, "I didn't know how to say no, not to directors, not to producers, not even to my mother. Hollywood operates on a simple principle: strike while the iron is hot, and Kristy's iron was blazing, so she kept saying yes. Yes to films, yes to press tours, yes to appearances. Before she could even process one project, she was on a plane to the next location. The exhaustion was cumulative: 16-hour days, constant travel, living out of hotel rooms, no time to just be a teenager. Her friends were back home, going to football games, and hanging out at the mall. She was on movie sets with adults, expected to be professional, polished, and perfect at all times. She was even nominated for a Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Actress, a cruel twist for someone who had just been celebrated as one of Hollywood's brightest talents. But the problem wasn't her performance. The problem was that Kristy McNichol was running on empty, the breaking point. By 1984, the cracks were impossible to hide. Kristy accepted a role in Just the Way You Are, a romantic drama filmed in the French Alps. Her character was a musician with a disability learning to accept herself. The irony wasn't lost on anyone close to her. Kristy was falling apart, and nobody seemed to notice or care. During production in France, she began experiencing severe panic attacks. Her heart would race. She couldn't sleep. Some nights she'd wake up drenched in sweat, gasping for air. She lost weight rapidly, her clothes hanging loose on her frame. Friends and crew members noticed she looked hollow, like someone slowly disappearing from the inside out. When she finally begged for help, her team told her to push through. "Don't worry," they said, "we'll get through it." But Kristy wasn't getting through it. She was drowning. After returning to Los Angeles, doctors diagnosed her with severe exhaustion, anxiety, and deep emotional trauma. For someone who had spent her entire adolescence being the strong one, the reliable one, that diagnosis felt like failure. The studio tried to control the narrative, telling the press it was a chemical imbalance. The tabloids weren't kind. They painted her as unstable, another child star crumbling under pressure. Years later, Kristy would say, "It would have been easier to kick an addiction than go through the years of hell that I did." She eventually returned to finish Just the Way You Are, but when audiences saw the film in 1984, they were watching a woman in genuine pain. The vulnerability on screen wasn't acting, it was real. For a while she tried to keep her career going. She appeared in Dream Lover, You Can't Hurry Love, and The Forgotten One. But her heart wasn't in it anymore. Hollywood had moved on to the next fresh face, and honestly, so had Kristy. The industry that had made her famous had also nearly destroyed her. What doctors would later identify as bipolar disorder explained so much. The intense highs of performance, the crushing lows that followed, the sleepless nights, the mood swings, the overwhelming sadness that seemed to come from nowhere. For years, she'd been trying to function with an undiagnosed mental illness while the entire world watched and judged. Through it all, her brother Jimmy never left her side. They'd started this journey together as kids auditioning for commercials, and when Kristy's world collapsed, Jimmy was there. He moved in with her, cooked meals, cleaned the house, and helped her navigate the darkest period of her life. "She wasn't just my sister," Jimmy said later. "She was my kid, my best friend." The departure. In 1988, NBC offered Kristy something she desperately needed: stability. The show was Empty Nest, a spin-off of The Golden Girls. She'd play Barbara Weston, a police officer living with her widowed father. It wasn't the heavy dramatic work of Family, but it gave her a place to belong. The cast was supportive, the atmosphere was light, and for the first time in years, Kristy was surrounded by laughter instead of pressure. Fans were thrilled to see her back on television. Empty Nest became a hit, airing Saturday nights alongside The Golden Girls. Viewers fell in love with Kristy all over again. But inside, she was still struggling. The same emotional waves that had nearly destroyed her in the 1980s kept returning. Some days she couldn't sleep. Other days she couldn't stop crying. She'd show up to set and force a smile, then go home and fall apart. In 1992, during the show's 5th season, Kristy made a decision that shocked everyone. She walked away. No dramatic exit storyline, no press conference, just a quiet departure. Her publicist released a brief statement saying she was leaving for health reasons, but the full truth wouldn't come out for nearly a decade. In 2001, Kristy finally revealed what had been happening. She'd been battling manic depression, now known as bipolar disorder. "I didn't want to talk about it at the time," she explained in an interview. "It was very private, but now I want to tell people the truth." Her honesty was revolutionary. In 2001, mental illness was still heavily stigmatized, especially in Hollywood. Admitting you had bipolar disorder could end a career. But Kristy didn't care about protecting her image anymore. She wanted people struggling with similar issues to know they weren't alone. She returned briefly for the Empty Nest finale in 1995, giving fans proper closure. After that, she only lent her voice to a couple of animated shows, Extreme Ghostbusters in 1997 and Invasion America in 1998. And then, nothing. Hollywood never saw Kristy McNichol on screen again. When reporters later asked if she'd ever consider a comeback, Kristy gave a small smile and said, "Never say never." But the tone of her voice said everything. Her story with Hollywood was over, and this time, she was leaving on her own terms. Life after Hollywood. After leaving acting behind, Kristy did something she'd never been able to do before. She lived for herself. She was 39 years old, and for the first time since childhood, there were no scripts, no filming schedules, no publicity obligations. The spotlight had been replaced by silence, and that silence became her medicine. She began teaching acting at a private school in Los Angeles, sharing decades of experience with young students who admired her honesty as much as her talent. Teaching allowed her to stay connected to the art she loved without the crushing pressure that had nearly killed her. She often told her students that acting wasn't about fame. It was about empathy, about truth, about understanding the human condition. Outside of teaching, Kristy lived quietly. She spent time with close friends, supported local charities, and found peace in simple routines. She took up yoga, played tennis regularly, and filled her home with animals, especially her beloved miniature dachshunds. "They keep me grounded," she once said. "Dogs don't care if you're famous." In 1997, just days before her 35th birthday, Kristy lost a close friend and former partner, actress Elizabeth Brooks, to cancer. The loss left a deep mark, but it also strengthened her commitment to helping others. She began donating to cancer research and mental health organizations, using her resources to support causes that mattered to her. When asked what she missed most about acting, Kristy's answer was simple: the people. Not the fame, not the pressure, just the people. For her, Hollywood had been both a blessing and a wound, and she was finally healing from it. The truth revealed. In 2012, Kristy surprised the world one more time. Through her publicist, she announced that she was gay and had been living happily with her partner Marty Allen since the early 1990s. It wasn't a publicity stunt or a calculated reveal. It was simply Kristy being honest after decades of silence. "I want to help others who feel different," she said, "and to support kids who are being bullied." For the first time, fans saw the real Kristy McNichol. Not the teen idol, not the Emmy-winning actress, but the woman who had survived, loved, and grown stronger through pain. Marty had been by her side through everything. Through the breakdown, through her departure from Empty Nest, through the years of rebuilding her life. Together, they created a quiet home filled with laughter, loyalty, and peace. No cameras, no interviews, no performances, just two people who genuinely loved each other. Today, Kristy McNichol is 62 years old and still living in Los Angeles. She teaches occasionally, mentors young actors, and sometimes attends fan conventions where people who grew up watching her can tell her what her work meant to them. Her net worth is estimated around $7 to $8 million, mostly from royalties from Family, Little Darlings, and Empty Nest. But money has never defined her. What defines Kristy McNichol is survival. She once said, "I was on the big stage between ages 8 and 30. I left show business to play my biggest part, myself." That statement, simple and profound, captures everything about her journey. Kristy didn't fade away because she failed. She walked away because she wanted to live. In a world where fame often consumes the people it touches, that choice might be her greatest performance of all. She didn't lose herself to Hollywood. She found herself by leaving it behind. Which of Kristy's performances do you remember most? Was it Buddy Lawrence in Family, Angel in Little Darlings, or Barbara Weston in Empty Nest? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed learning about Kristy's remarkable journey, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories about the stars who changed Hollywood and then changed their own lives.